So I've been thinking a lot lately about why Pokemon actually works. Not just as a card game or a video game, but as something that millions of us just can't quit. We've seen trends come and go. We've seen franchises explode and then vanish. But for some reason, this one has stayed. And honestly, I don't think it's for the reasons we usually tell ourselves. I didn't really understand the magic of it until I stepped away for a while. I had to leave, feel the weight of the real world, and then come back to realize what's actually happening. What's up? I'm JB, and this is Retro Game TCG. Today, I'm not here to talk about pull rates or market spikes or the newest set. I really just want to talk Pokemon. I want to look at why this franchise keeps pulling us back in and why I've found myself enjoying it more now as an adult than I ever did before. So, almost everyone has a Pokemon story. Maybe you collected cards at the lunch table, maybe you played the games on a blurry Game Boy screen, or watched the anime after school. And then, at some point, you drifted away. Life just happens. Career happened. Responsibility happened. Those cards ended up in a shoebox, tucked away in the back of a closet or in your parents' attic. But years later, something small pulls you back in. You see a trailer for a new game, or a single card sitting in a shop window, or even just the sound of a theme song. And suddenly you're not just looking at a game, you're looking at a piece of yourself. That kind of return doesn't happen by accident. It happens because Pokemon is built to be sticky. Here's something I don't think we talk about enough. Pokemon isn't just one hobby. It's cards, games, anime, and music, and even rich in history. The key part, the part that actually makes it work, is that you don't have to engage with all of it. You can love the games and never touch a piece of cardboard. Or you can collect cards and never watch a single episode of the show. Even you can enjoy the competitive meta or just collect cards because the art makes you happy. Pokemon gives you multiple doors and zero pressure to pick the right one. In a world that constantly demands we optimize everything, Pokemon is one of the few places that gives you total autonomy. You do it your own way, or not at all, and the franchise is fine with both. Think about the games for a second. They aren't twitchy or punishing. They aren't fast about reflexes or high-stress combat. They're turn-based, methodical, and they're very forgiving. The game teaches you patience without ever announcing it. They reward consistency over speed. You learn that if you keep walking through that tall grass, you keep training, you will get where you're going. And then you have the anime, which is rarely ever about winning in every single time. It's about losing, regrouping, and trying again. It sends this really subtle, really powerful message. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep showing up. I think what surprised me most about coming back wasn't the cards themselves. It was how Pokemon fit into my life right now, specifically as a dad. When I introduced my kids to this world, it lit a completely new spark in me. I just realized I didn't want to enjoy Pokemon for myself anymore. I wanted to see them fall in love with what I love. Now, see, my son is at this stage right now where it's all Pokemon all the time. He's deep into cards, playing Pokemon GO, watching the anime. Honestly, not a day goes by where he isn't talking about Pokemon in some form or another. And my little girl, she adores the cute side of it. She's obsessed with all the evolutions, and she's right there with us for the raids and the show. Many nights a week, we find ourselves loading up in the car, driving around town, hunting together. We're out there hitting raids, finding Pokestops, and just sharing that excitement. Even my wife is joined in. She might not be as in the weeds as the rest of us are, but she's there for the go trips, and it brings back memories for her too. She reminisces about when she was a kid, her and her brother collecting cards, and then trying to catch the best teams they could on their Game Boys. As I've talked to her about this, she has specifically said it gives us all something to do as a common ground as a family. It's become this incredible bridge for us. It grew up with me, and now it's letting me watch them grow up with it too. That's not something that most hobbies can pull off. But look, here's where people run into trouble. And I see this happen to people who used to love this hobby. They try to engage with Pokemon the same way they engaged with a stressful job. Fast, outcome driven, always chasing the next hit. When Pokemon becomes only about the price tag or only about the rare pool, that's when the frustration creeps in. It's not because the hobby changes, it's because your expectations did. You've turned a very forgiving hobby into a punishing one. And your brain is going to react to that by wanting to quit. If you're feeling that friction, try one simple thing. Before you buy that next box or restart that old save file, decide for a moment what enjoyment actually means for you. Not success, not profit, just enjoyment. Ask yourself, what would make this worth my time, even if I don't get a big hit? Maybe it's just replaying a game slowly or collecting one specific Pokemon you've always loved. If your joy depends on a rare outcome, you're gambling with your happiness. But if your joy lives in process, then Pokemon does what it's always done best. It lasts. That's why the franchise is still here and why it's not going anywhere. It isn't because it's loud or trendy. It's because it leaves room for people to grow, change, leave, and then come back. And when you do come back, it still feels like home. That's why I love it now more than I did when I was 10. If this resonated with you, I'd honestly love to hear your entry point. Was it the red and blue games? Was it the base set cards? Or maybe something much later? Drop a comment. I'd love hearing how people found their way here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I'm JB. This is Retro Game TCG. Take it easy. I'll see you in the next one.